10 celebrities who now work normal jobs. Curious about what your favorite celebrities are up to after stepping out of the limelight? Join us on this fascinating journey as we uncover the surprising normal jobs that 10 well-known personalities have taken on. Let's get started. Number 1. Angus T Jones. Angus T Jones is a former child actor who starred in the CBS sitcom 2.5 Men. But after leaving the show, Jones committed himself to a career in the church and took part in several organizations. In public, he formally told him that he didn't want to be part of the show, and there was no way for someone like himself who believed in God and feared him could appear on a program like that. Jones gave up Hollywood and headed for the University of Colorado at Boulder. As an environmental studies major, he demonstrated his changing feelings towards organized religion by switching from science to Jewish studies at the end of freshman year. Jones is now serving as a pastor. Number 2. Amanda Bynes. Amanda Bynes was another Hollywood child star who found mass appeal in the 90s and early 2000s for her work on films like All That, What a Girl Wants, and Hairspray. After she retired from acting, she also encountered personal troubles, including conservatorship order, and cultural attitudes about mental illness prevented her problems getting help at all. However, she recently made a comeback with the release of her podcast, Amanda Bynes and Paul Semensky, the podcast. However, after her first episode came out and received positive views, Bynes decided to take a wager on beauty instead of continuing with the podcast. She went on to say that she once studied cosmetology and created a fragrance. On her Instagram story, Bynes explained that even she decided to continue pursuing medical school admissions this year. After all the pondering, I would rather get my manicurist license and go back to having some kind of regular job. Thank you for accompanying me. She said. I'm going to walk that road myself from now on. Number 3. Freddy Prince Jr. Freddy Prince Jr., a child star whose movies include She's All That and Scooby-Doo, left show business to become a chef. After stepping away from Hollywood, he focused on his passion for cooking and even wrote a cookbook titled Back to the Kitchen. Actor Goes Gourmet Cookbook, 75 delicious, true stories and real recipes from a food-obsessed man. Besides working as a chef, Prince Jr. has also got involved in entertainment through voice acting and WWE, along with posting his video content on the internet for streaming YouTube or listening to his soundtracks. Or listening to his podcasts. He spends much of his time waiting around rivers too. That's something is wrong. He returned to acting in 2022 with the Christmas With You film for Netflix. In the Christmas With You film for Netflix. In a sense, Freddy Prince Jr.'s switch in career could be considered a healthy one for self-development and pursuing what he loves best. So, his move to the kitchen from acting reflects his talent for picking up new things and embarking on another career. Number 4. Nikki Blonsky. Nikki Blonsky, made famous by her portrayal of Tracy Turnbad in the 2007 film version of Hairspray, has followed an unusual path toward fame. She experienced setbacks after starring in the role in Hairspray, including a public falling out with her family and contentious problems finding a good part for herself. Out magazine reported in 2017 that she didn't deliberately distance herself from Hollywood, but rather it was the other way around. Hollywood distance itself from her. Blonsky has continued acting in recent years and is also busily working as a makeup artist. Earlier this year, she revealed on social media that she had returned to her hometown and was working as a hairstylist. This career shift reveals her versatility and openness to trying various avenues in the entertainment world. So, even when difficulties and disappointments have struck, Blonsky has carried on her way. Blonsky has carried on with her love of acting in new directions. Number 5. Tony Danza. Tony Danza is an American TV star who appeared in hit series of the 1980s and 90s, such as Taxi and Who's the Boss. In 2010, he withdrew from acting to try his hand at teaching. He became a 10th grade English teacher at Northeast. At Northeast High School in Philadelphia, which was documented in the reality show Teach Tony Danza. Tony Danza wanted to teach in a real school before becoming an actor. Danza had already pursued the study of education and was interested in teaching. Being a teacher was not always easy for Danza. Some of his students even criticized him. He had difficulty breaking through to them at first. Yet he endured, and eventually his efforts paid off in the classroom. He taught his class until the end of that year, and then came back for a few years. After his experience as a teacher, Danza wrote a book titled I'd like to apologize to every teacher I ever had. 1 year as a freshman teacher at Northeast High School, his interest in teaching has continued. However, through his nonprofit organization, the Stars of Tomorrow Project, he now supports acting classes for youngsters. Switching from actor to teacher is only further evidence of Tony Danza's ability and desire to follow his interests wherever they lead. Finally, his experience as a teacher enabled him to identify and aid youngsters.